Yo, what up, man? Chris, somebody checking in, man, back with the blog, man. Make sure that like button and subscribe button, Wayne. I appreciate all the support. Salute. We got another interview that dropped, man. Smack discussing his issues with Remy Ma. Before I get into my thoughts on that. All right, before I get into this blog, man, you know, I did the J Mills documentary. Make sure you check that out. If you have not checked that out, that is a great documentary. But J Mills did respond to the documentary. He put a comment. I got it pinned at the top. He said he appreciated it. Another thing that's really important, man, we talk a lot about, like, you know, how J Mills has been able to kind of utilize the media and everything like that, and how everybody's kind of rooting for J Mills. This is what he has on Twitter. He has basically posted my video on Twitter. Now, why is that a big deal? We do a lot of recaps. We do a lot of discussions. We do a lot of talking about a lot of battlers in this culture. They never promote your stuff for you. You know what I'm saying? They might DM you privately and say salute or whatever, but for the most part, they never really promote your stuff or help push it further. So just the fact that to put this on Twitter and try to get it out there more, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. But anyway, let's get to this blog. For the record, I don't really feel any kind of way about Easy leaving URL or Easy staying on URL. I just wish the situation was different. You know, I kind of always wish situations can work themselves out. Wish there could be a conversation. Wish we could probably get a battle with Rock or a battle with Surf. It still is a slight possibility, but I be wishing situations could be worked out. Same with like K-Shine and some of these other people that have had issues, especially people that I feel like have done some monumental things on that stage. So I don't necessarily fault Easy for leaving. He's with Rem. She starts the league. That's his girl. Of course, you're probably going to leave. So, I mean, that's not really the case. If you're asking me, the only point I was trying to make with the blog was that deep down inside, there was really no way to fix that situation, because now that we know how in-depth the Rem and Easy situation is, there was never a way that Easy and Smack was ever going to be to get back on the same page. Easy would have had a lot of leverage. He would have had Remy behind him. He would have had more money behind him. He would have had YouTube drops behind him. He would have had the ability to just point to somebody and say, I want to battle this person. Rem probably would have made it happen as long as they weren't under contract with URL. With that being said, it's hard to go back to URL and listen to P, listen to Beasley, listen to Chico and Smack tell you who they think you should battle, tell you what platforms you should battle on. I'm not platforms, but events you should battle. Are you main eventing or not main eventing? You know, sometimes the thing with Easy is he likes the attention. I still feel like he's like that. So he would have had the views on Chrome and also the main event status. So he can look up and say, yo, I main evented the last 4 cards. On URL, he really wasn't main eventing. He was on a lot of big cards, but he was always placed somewhere second, third, or whatever, never really headlining a URL card. So those are the things he would have had to give up to leave Chrome and go back to URL. URL is under a different structure than Chrome. And with that being said, URL would have never been able to reel him in. So even though I don't necessarily have an issue with Easy leaving, I understand why he left, because he had, looking out for his career and all that kind of stuff. At the same time, we kind of do know that no matter what URL would have done, whether they had gave Easy everything he wanted, his loyalty would have been the Rem. And if his loyalty is the Rem, URL would have got fucked. So that's the point I was trying to make. All right, man, let's get into this Rem and Smack thing, man. Let me give my opinion into it.
No, it could be taken along.
Ask your question knowledge, man. Ask your question knowledge, man. Come on, man.
And then, Remy, she's somebody who came in the culture. You know what I'm saying? You guys opened the door for her and everything like that. And then, she came and took one of your biggest artists, and the whole shit happened. And now, from, what I heard is Chrome 23 is no longer in business, and they're no longer doing battles and things like that. How did that affect your relationship? Because I've seen you had a lot of love for her. You know what I'm saying?
Rep was I did have a lot of love for Rem. I mean, you know, I still got love for her. Like, you know what I mean? I don't wish bad on her, but I just don't respect how she handled the situation and what she did. Like, you know what I'm saying? She like did like, you know, backdoor shit. Like, you know what I mean? Come in and try to infiltrate and try to like get people to try to jump ship. It's corny. You know what I'm saying? It's corny. When she first came in, she was on some, you know, we doing it for the ladies, the girls, and then she tried to jump in my lane. It's just corny shit. I don't respect it. It's like somebody coming on your block trying to hustle on your block. Don't try to hustle on my block. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? You can do what you do. Go do that over there. You know what I mean? You already see, I got my own program. I had my own program for years. I jumped out of the whole motherfucking major artist shit when it comes to the, you know, the industry. Created a whole new wave. Been rocking that shit for like a decade. You coming in now trying to get, like, it's weird. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's just like a conflict of interest. Like, I'm not gonna bring you in and try to have a conflict of interest when it comes to your movement. Like, I would never come and try to jump on whatever the fuck, you know what I mean, you got going on and try to, like, you know what I'm saying, interrupt your plans or whatever the fuck you established for fucking 10 years and do what you fucking doing. Like, nah, like, I would never do that. You know what I mean? That's what she did, which was corny to me. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, you know what I mean, out of the respect that, you know what I mean, and the love that, you know, I displayed to her, to Pat, and everybody that, like, you know what I'm saying, I grew up with coming up in this game, I just felt that shit was whack to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I feel. That's how I feel about Shorty. So, you know what I'm saying? She ain't never called her, like, you know what I'm saying, you know, really, like, you know, chopped up with me. So I just, like, it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, man, there's a lot to unpack there, man. I'm surprised Smack has been so candid in these interviews, man. But salute to Knowledge for even being able to get these interviews, man. I guess Smack, you know, got a lot to get off his chest. So he said Remy Ma backdoored him. Now, URL has done a lot of like shady stuff. They try to monopolize the game. They don't really want other niggas to eat a lot of times. They don't want other people to use their talent, all this kind of stuff, or what they deem as their talent. And they really want to be number one and everybody else to just follow suit. They have block battles. They have book battles on the same day as other people and all this kind of stuff. When it comes to Remy Ma, I don't know the relationship between Remy Ma and Smack around this time. Like, I don't really know the conversations they had or the relationship. Smack is pretty open. He don't give a fuck about RBE, organic, TBL, anything like that. So I guess his cutthroat ways when it comes to those leagues, I guess he just don't give a fuck. If he can do whatever he got to do to maintain his number one position, he'll do that. If you're cool though, meaning if you're cool, if Remy Ma and Smack are cool, then you would hope that there's a different type of way of doing things. So I'm going to tell you when things first start kind of going south for Remy Ma and URL. So we know Remy Ma used to come to the events, you know, pretty much show up to you know, quite a few Smack events. Her and Pap, sometimes her by herself. She was coming to the Chrome 23 events and stuff like that. And, you know, you would see her at events and she was a little fixture at some events. They seem to have a pretty good relationship.
I don't think this nigga solid. I don't think this nigga solid. I don't think this nigga solid. I don't think this nigga solid.
So Remy Ma decides to do Chrome 23, which was supposed to be a female league. I thought it was a great idea. The females needed a platform. And, you know, it was very hard for new talent to get onto URL at the time, even though they had caffeine and everything. They kept booking the same kind of girls. The only new girl that ever got any look over there was really Prestavia. Everybody else that was up and coming was having a hard time getting onto caffeine. So Chrome 23 was kind of cool. Like, you got another outlet, another league, you know what I'm saying? That you could, that you could kind of get booked at. Now, I'm pretty sure Remy Ma and Smack had some type of conversation about leagues and everything. And I'm sure Smack thought Rem was going to do a female league and he would do a male league. And when she had her first event and it was like, you know, Hustle versus Couture and Prestavia versus Yoshi and that whole card that was really, really big. You know, I think URL was there to support it. So they were still cool at that time. But after that first event that Remy Ma did a female league, she really kind of got away from female. Like the first time she did a female only event, she started branching out after that. I think she did a tournament. The next card she did was actually an intergender card. And you know URL was already doing those cards called Kings and Queens. So Remy Ma kind of stepped into Smack's lane and started doing intergender battles. And she booked like Vixen versus Twerk that never went down. No, Twerk ended up canceling that battle. She booked Rum Nitty, she booked Official, she booked Av, she booked J2, she booked some other people. So she had an intergender card, male versus female. Now, one of the problems on that card was Official versus Av. URL had been trying to get Av to battle on Kings and Queens. He kept saying he didn't really have no smoke for no female. He wasn't interested in battling a female. So P, from my understanding, had a hard time getting people like Av to do Kings and Queens. So when he popped up on the Remy Ma card, which is there, you see Av, you see Remy Ma, you see Official. This is the battle that they had on Chrome 23. Up on that card, they looking at it like, yo, my nigga, you battle on URL. We try to book you for a intergender battle on URL. If you want to battle Official, you could have just battled her at Kings and Queens. Why you went over to Remy Ma and gave Remy Ma a plate over there when you could have just battled over here? We already book Official. We already book you. Y'all could have done the battle. But you told us you don't battle females. So why the hell are you battling a female? Now, Av probably got a call from Rem, probably got fanned out because it was Remy Ma, probably wanted to build a relationship with Chrome 23, took the battle. That was the first problem between Rem and URL, was the booking of Av. You know, Av don't have a great relationship with URL to this day. Some of it is because of this right here. You know what I'm saying? Before this, he tried to go to RBE and battle and sign a deal with ARP to battle Big K. So they probably felt a little disloyalty out of Av. You try to go to RBE to battle Big K. Now you over here, you don't want to do Kings and Queens, but you pop up on this. So already Remy was kind of moving into URL's lane with Kings and Queens. Now, what Smack them didn't know was that there was a relationship between Easy and Rem. And Rem was moving into this lane of trying to book Easy and because Easy was talking to Rem before the Hitman battle. That's pretty much confirmed. So prior to her booking the Hitman battle, they already had a relationship. So I think, in my personal opinion, I think Rem always knew that there was going to be a problem if she started booking guys, and already going to be a problem if she started booking Easy, because she was already having issues with the Av booking. So if you're, I know I've seen a couple interviews where Easy's been like, well, I didn't really think it was no problem if I battle Hitman. I thought Rem and Smack were cool. It's a reason why nobody told Smack about this Hitman battle. They basically just dropped this shit out of nowhere, dropped it, announced it, everything like that. The whole world was like, oh wow, Hitman and Easy are battling. Nobody knew anything about it. URL found out the same day everybody else had. And what we know now that we didn't know then is that Rem and Easy had a relationship, and that, Easy battling on Chrome 23 was always going to eventually be a thing because he was in a relationship with Rem. And he also has the influence of Rem. Like he can influence her. He can talk to her. And I'm pretty sure they was like, yo, I'm about battle Hitman. Smack them ain't gonna like it. I ain't gonna even tell these niggas about it. We just gonna shoot the trailer, sign a contract, drop that shit. It is what it is. And once it dropped and URL tried to stop it or try to get control of it, then that's when Easy was trying to do damage control to try to figure out a way to kind of smooth things over with URL. But they really weren't going for it. And there were certain things URL wanted that was kind of corny. Like they wanted Rem to put that Easy was available to battle on Chrome 23 courtesy of URL. They wanted actually courtesy of URL to be on the footage. Easy was signed. So part of the problem with Rem is that she kind of took Easy, bro. And they were always going to be on this league at the end of the day. Let's just call it what it is. Like Easy was never, like I said in the other blog, Easy was never going to be able to satisfy URL and satisfy Chrome 23. So what do you choose? You're going to choose the woman that you with and the woman that you smash, and you're not going to choose Smack. So at the end of the day, there was always going to be some disloyalty from Easy's side. And if there's disloyalty from Easy's side, who's feeding it? Remy Ma. And that's where the issue come, because Smack is probably looking at it like, yo, what the fuck? I knew you before Easy. He don't even know at the time they got a whole relationship. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty much the issue. Easy, you know, Rem was she from the Bronx? She probably was like, I don't give a fuck. Y'all niggas can't tell me who the fuck I book, who I want to book. Easy also arrogant. Like, yo, man, fuck them niggas. You know, you got the money, we got the league, do what we want to do. They'll be all right. So as long as Easy was on board and Rem was on board, there was always going to be pushback from Smack. And the cease and desist wasn't able to stop anything. The courtesy of URL on the footage, Rem wasn't with it. She didn't want to put that on there because it would have seemed like URL was giving her permission to use Easy. And that was pretty much the thing. And you know, Smack was never going to go through with his cease and desist. It would have looked really, really whack. You a New York nigga. Remy Ma just got out of jail. Not just got out of jail, but she got out of prison. You going to sue her? You going to do it? You going to take her to court? You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be Smack. The essence Smack is streets. You going to take a female to court over Easy the block captain. It didn't make sense. So the cease and desist was really just a scare tactic. You know what I'm saying? So that was never going to happen, but things never was the same between URL and Easy. And they feel like the only reason why they lost Easy is because of Rem, because of Rem's money, because of Rem's booking, because URL has always been a powerhouse. And even when people leave URL, they normally come crying back to URL to continue to get booked. No matter what they say. We just saw Mike P come back and battle Tay-Rock, and he's been battling on Trenches and other stuff, but he still came back and battled Tay-Rock on URL and made up with Smack. They've always had the luxury of being at the end all be all, the league that everybody wanted to battle on. In this situation, they didn't realize the relationship between Easy and Rem, and also Rem has the money and the finances to continue to fund Easy. Now, we give Easy a lot of credit for stepping out on his own, fighting the machine. He really had a soft landing space, if we keep it real. He knew Rem was going to support him, and he knew Rem was a millionaire, and he knew Rem was going to book him for whatever battles he wanted to be booked. So, honestly, I don't know if he would have been able to poke his chest out if he didn't have Rem. So, yeah, we give Easy credit for stepping out on his own, but he stepped out on his own knowing that there was no way he was going to fail, because once Rem gave him the Hitman battle, she just gave him Disaster, then Reed Dollars, and then the list goes on. He battled Geechee Clips, all these other people. So all of this has been able to happen due to Remy Ma. I can see both sides if I'm being fair. If Smack and Remy Ma were cool, I probably would look at Remy Ma like, you stole my artist, or you're the reason why my artist hasn't come back or is poking his chest out saying on some fuck URL shit. It's because you're behind him co-signing all this shit, but you supposed to be cool with me. And why you gonna book an artist that I got signed without talking to me first? Let's be real, bro. We know Easy told Rem, pillow talking, you know what I'm saying? You know, one night sleeping in the bed, you know, right after they had breakfast or whatever, they sitting back chilling, watching TV. You know I'm signing URL, right? Them niggas gonna be tripping. I'm on a 5-year contract. Them niggas is not gonna want me battling no Hitman. So we already know that was gonna happen. So, I mean, we can just stop all of this, you know, I thought it was gonna be okay if I go over there. Let's just stop all the lies, bro. We can stop all of that. We can finally admit, Easy at least, and Rem, but more so probably Easy, was on some fugaziness a little bit. And they probably just hope URL would be okay with it and that Rem would be able to smooth it over. She wasn't able to smooth it over, and the relationship just was what it was. But I could see Smack feeling a little bit of Like, I could see him feeling backdoored if his relationship with Rem was like, because in interviews he would call Rem sis. Yo, that's sis, that's sis, that's sis. Now niggas just be saying that, just like Smack be like, yo, that's my brother, but they don't really, Smack don't even know these niggas. But at the same time, if Remy Ma and Smack do have a real relationship, and or Papoose and all that have a real relationship, I could see why he feels some type of way about Rem. He may say fuck ARP, fuck Organic, fuck TBL, fuck King Bao, fuck all these niggas. But I may know Remy Ma more personally. You know what I'm saying? So when you step in my lane, I feel a type of way. It's just like if Debo all of a sudden decided to just start booking big battles. He ran into some money, booked big battles, started booking, you know, Geechee and whoever and all this kind of stuff. And it'd be like, yo, my nigga, Debo, we cool. Debo has every right to do what he want to do with his money, but some certain people you may look at and say, I thought we were better than this. But at the same time, it's a lot of people that could say that about Smack. I thought we were better than this with Smack, and Smack has pretty much, you know, kept it business with niggas. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there's some battle rappers that thought they had a better relationship with Smack, only to realize that maybe Smack or Chico or Beasley or Norbs or P or whatever didn't do what they were supposed to do. So I think the message, I'm cool with the message, the backdoor message. Don't really know if the messenger is right though, because Smack has not always been stand up. I don't even really know if it's Smack sometimes, because I don't really know how much the nigga just said he never talked to P, bro. I don't really know if the nigga is even running his business on a day-to-day. But whoever it is between Chico and Beasley, them niggas be sometimes blocking battles and doing stuff like that, especially Chico. So, you know, that's just how I feel about that. But no, I don't doubt at all that they knew what they were doing, Remy and Easy. They knew what they were doing. They already was having issues with Av, bro. And that was a year before Easy even battle Hitman, or a little bit before even battle Hitman. So you already know, bigger opponent, a nigga that's actually signed like Easy, a nigga that they have an issue with sometimes like Hitman. You put that battle together, you know Smack finna have a problem. And that's why they did that shit secret as hell. No bloggers, no nothing knew anything about this. You know how hard it is to book a big battle in this culture and nobody is leaked it to nobody? No bloggers don't know, Vada don't know, Angry Fan don't know, Piper Boy don't know, I don't know, Three Letterman don't know, whatever. Maybe Jay Black sometimes be knowing because he plugged in really heavy with URL. But it's really, really hard for a big battle to get booked and nobody know anything. Nobody knew Hitman was battling Easy until it dropped. I remember the day it dropped. Spaces was crazy that day. So, and I think it was purposely done that way to try to like, yo, URL ain't gonna like this shit. So now that the dust is settled, man, the niggas ain't gotta hide shit no more. We can stop the lies, bro. Remy Ma and Easy knew what they were doing. They already ran into it with Av, and Smack is trying to monopolize the game. So sometimes he's not the right messenger. I guess a bigger question is, what was him and Rem's relationship? Were they really like cool? Did they talk on the phone? You know, did they kick it? You know, I don't really know. Was he trying to help her with her league when it first started up, and then feeling like, damn, I gave you tips and shit, and then you backdoored me and started booking men? I don't really know, but let me know your thoughts, man. Chris Unbiased, holla at your boy.